Okay, so good morning once again. All right, for those of us that doesn't know me, my name is Aderonke Adeluga. I am the host for today. And with me, I have three of my guests, and these are people I'm actually looking forward to learn from personally. And I would just mention their names, so I would want them to introduce themselves. So, Sister Jen, I have Sister Jem with me. I have Kingsley with me, and I have Dr. Timmy with me. Uh, okay. So, Sister Jem, ladies
Yes.
first.
Okay. So good morning again, everyone. I am Jem Ogunsanya. I describe myself as a curious being who loves learning. So this is a brief introduction. So in my career as an academic in one of South Africa's top universities, my role is to facilitate sharing of knowledge and to foster learning in a bi-directional exchange. My specialties are in entrepreneurial studies, management, and public administration. I am also an entrepreneur with a budding business enterprise in hair and skincare products. I love seeing people come into their own. I love seeing people step with boldness to occupy their space on God's earth. And my contribution in that area is to provide support in form of mentoring and motivation. So this platform is a wonderful opportunity. I'm happy to be part of the discussion on purpose and marriage. And I am also married. I've got 2 children also. So thank you very much for this privilege, Adirunke.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. Thank you very much. Kingsley, over to you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, all. I really want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be in your space. I go by the name Kingsley Madukba, and my pseudonym on Instagram is Kingsley Speaks. Okay, I describe myself as someone who is out there to help singles build the right emotional relationship and live a life of purpose. That's very simple. And so it is my constant desire to always see singles live a life of purpose and have a very beautiful relationship as designed by God. And so I love to use godly ethics to teach these things so I'll be able to help communicate where it all comes from, like the fountainhead of which all these things come from. So I am happy to be here by God's grace, like my previous speaker said when she was introducing herself. I love to see when people come out. I love to see when people take the bold step to come out and do things they were designed by God to do. So I believe I was designed before I was formed to do this, and so it gives me much joy to do this, and I'm happy to be here. I really want to say thank you. I believe it's going to be a very wonderful experience with you guys, starting from the fact that we have people who have field experience and knowledge here. So I want to say thank you. It's my privilege to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Timmy, over to you, ma.
All right. Good morning. Good day. Let me say good day because I don't know which side of the world we're all coming in from. And it's so beautiful to see you. This is Jem. I love your name. And I saw Jem. I said, wow. And then you are almost like my complexion. That's awesome. Good to see you. Good to meet you, Mr. Quinsley. Good to meet you also. It's a great honor to be sharing this platform with you today. And of course, my one and holy Aderoke, the special one. I remember when I met her and I said, okay, your name is Roke. And she said, no, Aderoke. It's a great honor to know you. It's a great privilege to be here. Yes, I am Simi Oyebode. popularly known or called Dr. Timi. That's basically because I have a PhD in counseling, trauma counseling specifically. And I have been working as a professional counselor and a psychotherapist for over 16, 17 years going on now. I work in the space of family, marriage, individuals, couples. I work with recovery. I work with my main core areas actually has to do with sexuality, sexual recovery, as well as addiction recovery. So I work with all space of people, and I've done a lot with families. Yes, I'm also a family person myself. I've been married for 15 years now. I have 4 children, and I also had a well-known school, the foremost counseling college here in Lagos, Nigeria, the one called AD High Counseling School. I'm a counselor. That's what defines me. I'm passionate about people, and I'm passionate about family, marriage, and people getting it right. And so I feel honored to be on this seat with us today, talking about purpose and marriage. Thank you. So thank you again for the invite. Aderonke, God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, Ma. Okay, so let me quickly say this. Dr. Timi actually, she's my boss. Like where I got trained as a counselor was actually from her school. So she owned a certified counseling school for counselors, and that is where I got my first certification from as a counselor. So thank you, Ma. I'm really, really honored. I have a very low profile, and also she's also part of my board as on MindSpec Up. So thank you for joining us today. So we hope that today is going to be a very loaded day. So welcome, guys. Welcome, Mayowa. Welcome, Zipporah. Welcome to Relationship Realities. All right, so part of our doctrine, before we get started, I usually read a story where we have our panelist section. So today, because of the topic, it's kind of different because I think I have like 3 case studies, so I don't know how far we can go with that. But let me start with the first one, and if it's possible, we can still run with the 3, then yeah, we go. So I want us to go with me as I read the story. So I have okay. So introduction. In my interaction with people as a friend, coach, mentor, and a counselor across continents, I discovered that some huge percentage of people are living under misconception of love and relationship. The case study we will be looking into today are lives with unsolved puzzles, and this life represent many lives out there, which we believe will get their puzzles solved today. Our motive on this platform is to break relationship ambiguities through words of wisdom, real life experiences, and expertise. We will be learning the what's, why, and when, and how of living a purposeful life. So the case one I have here is about Susan. Susan is a single mom by choice. She met her ex-husband, Barry, at the club, and she fell in love with him at the first glance. Susan realized that Barry was sleeping with other women, but she never cares because she believed that good thing doesn't belong to one person. So everyone has to keep playing their cards. Susan decided to impress Barry with gifts and sex, yet he never stopped seeing other women. Then Susan decided to use pregnancy as a strategy to keep Barry to herself. Barry and Susan got married. However, that doesn't stop Barry from seeing other women. And sometimes it wouldn't come home for a week. Susan became an angry wife, and her strategy didn't work out as planned. She then thought, maybe a second child would help Barry realize that he has responsibility and focus on her and the children. On the birth of their second child, Barry was with another woman in a different country, whom also gave birth for him the same day. Susan received this news through a friend who saw the post of Barry and her girlfriend at the hospital welcoming their new baby born. Susan became upset at the news she got. She placed several calls to her husband, but Barry didn't pick nor return her calls. Barry returned back home to Susan after 3 weeks. Susan confronted Barry of his absence and the post of his girlfriend and baby on his social page. But unfortunately for Susan, Barry didn't deny it. In fact, Barry made it clear to Susan that they never had an agreement of marriage, neither did he ever loved her, but since she got pregnant and couldn't find a place to live was why he asked her to move in with him. And that she decided to have a second child, which he asked her to terminate. The conversation between Barry and Susan got deeper and it turned into a physical fight that involved the police. 3 months later, Barry left Susan and relocated to join his girlfriend and newborn. Susan became depressed, losing Barry, and turned misery into smoking and drinking of alcohol. Susan developed a philosophy of her own that what money cannot buy does not exist. She lived a life based on this philosophy and decided never to have a committed relationship because marriage is obviously not meant for everyone. And instead of getting heartbroken again, she would rather enjoy a life without a man and pay for sex whenever she feels like it. Susan has since then lived a life under our adopted philosophy. So before I dive into the question, I would like to have our perspective first, our panelists, towards the definition of purpose and marriage. So this time I would want the man to go first. So Kingsley. Yep.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. I did not take it for granted. Now, I want us to know that purpose and marriage.
Sorry, Kingsley, I barely can hear you. I don't know if everybody can.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Can we hear him?
It's still faint.
I think your headset is disturbing.
Okay, you can
you
speak.
hear me now? Can you hear me now?
And it's still echoing.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay, let's see.
Go on.
Just go ahead. Let's see if we can manage it.
My concept of purpose and marriage, I would love to draw my concept from the biblical angle. Do you understand? And so,
sorry, Kingsley, can you do without the headphone?
Yes, maybe you should remove that.
can you hear me now?
Okay, I think it's getting better.
So, concept of purpose and marriage is biblical. Do you understand? It's biblical. Why? Because I believe purpose is much more important in the system of marriage than any other thing. It is much more important. Why? Because I don't think you go into marriage just because you love someone.
Okay. Okay, it's still cracky. And what I can get is purpose is more important, right?
Yes, purpose is much more important than emotions in marriage. You get that? You get that?
Okay, yeah.
It is much more important than the emotions in marriage. Why? Because
Okay, Kingsley, sorry, let me interrupt that. Maybe let me move to Sister Jane, and we'll come back. So maybe by that time you can adjust your internet, because we want to enjoy what you're sharing. So please, Sister Jane, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Adirunke. I'm hoping Kingsley is able to sort out his earpiece so that we can hear him. I think it's important that when I just think of what he has begun to say, I think it would be unfortunate if we can't hear what he has to say. He needs to be able to complete what he's loaded in his heart to say. But I will just say this in a very simple way. I understand purpose to be the intent, for which one is existing. Why am I here? It answers that question. Why am I around? What am I all about? What am I here to do? Because nobody is a biological accident at all. So there is, and I also, just like Kingsley says, since I'll take it from a point of view of faith, my belief system, what I believe in. So I believe in God. I believe God created everyone here who is on earth. And there is a reason for allowing us to come from eternity, to come into time, to occupy time to occupy time and space, So I believe the reason for us being around, the reason for a human, for a person to be on God's own earth is their purpose. What is it that they are here to do? What's their mission in life? That's what purpose is. So there's an intent behind being here. How will I link that to marriage? I believe marriage is the ideal marriage should be a healthy relationship, a healthy union between two people, a man and a woman, who have a sense of who they are. So I'm trying to link purpose and marriage here, who have a sense of who they are. The sense of who they are, a personal identity. Now that's where purpose comes in. Having a sense of identity of who you are, being sure of where you stand in life, being sure of your direction, where you're going. And then two people with such mindsets or with such preparation in their hearts as to who they are when they come together. You now have the joining, the coming together of two purpose-oriented or purposeful people. So that's how I would link purpose and moreover, purpose guides our choices. If you have a clear understanding, if you have a very clear understanding of who you are, what you are all about, where you are going, it will influence the choices that you make, including the choice of a spouse. So that's where I link purpose and marriage. Thank you, Adirunke.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Okay, Kingsley, do we have you now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, you can go ahead. Let's see.
Okay, purpose and marriage is it's a very, very ambiguous thing, but I would love to break it down. I feel, rather I know, it's very pertinent for us to know that purpose should come before marriage.
Sorry, Kingsley.
Purpose should come before marriage.
Purpose should come before marriage.
Before marriage. Why? Because it is going to be easier for you to know who you need for a life partner when you have a purpose for yourself. And you have what you want to.
Sorry, Kingsley. I'm enjoying your content, but it's not really cleared. Can we do without your earphone? Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I said purpose comes before marriage. Do you get that point? Purpose comes before marriage. Purpose should come before marriage. Why? Because when you have a purpose for your life, where you're going to, where God has called you to go, where God has called you to go function, it is going to be easier for you to identify the person that suits that part. You get the point? And so many persons out there should understand that we are not going to marriage because we just love someone. I believe we're going to marriage because we're going to fulfill purpose together. And so it is me coming with my purpose, meeting someone, it is me coming with my purpose, finding someone whose purpose aligns with mine, and we can now consummate that in marriage.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
get that?
I barely could hear you. And
Oh,
yeah, it is important that we hear you clearly, because what you are saying is actually very valid. And I'm actually enjoying it. And I don't know how we can do that. Is there a way where you can change your maybe internet? You can switch? I don't know, because now it's not about the iPhone. I think it's about the internet, the network now. Can you do something about it? Please, please. Yeah, I know it can somehow be like that. This internet provider sometimes, it's crazy.
yeah. Okay. You just remove the next question, something about it.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Tini,
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
So over to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, that was okay. I think every other person can try to mute so that we can be sure we're all on the same side. Okay. So, that was a good one from Mrs. Jem. And of course, the little I had from Kingsley, I think there was something that stood out in what he said. When he said that purpose should come before marriage. And I think in essence, he's talking about the human life purpose. When Mrs. Jem was talking earlier, she had talked about purpose being what the person exists for, why you exist, what you're doing, and all that. So I think in line with that, we're talking about humanity. We're talking about each individual and their individual purpose. Now, if I'm going to take it from another angle, then I would say, talking about purpose and marriage is understanding also, apart from the individual life goals, life purpose, or why we exist, there's another core thing about marriage. Why this marriage? Why must I marry this person? Why must I even be married? The purpose of the marriage itself, it's what a lot of people often do not know or do not define. Many people get into marriage because it's high time I get married, I'm of age. And so marriage becomes a cultural thing. Like, I just have to be married. Once I get to so age, then I need to be married. And without specific reasons, what benefits, what contribution, what goals, what is the major purpose of that union? Once people get that right, you find out that they really have reasons to break up later on, because they are coming together for a reason. And once that reason is well defined and well spelled out, and they begin together to pursue that core reason for coming together, it holds them even into old age. That reason holds them when the tempest and the temptations and the struggles of marriage comes. That becomes their major strong backup, the purpose, why they got married in the first place. Why this person? Why this marriage? And I think that's one core thing I would want to establish, even as we start out. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Why this marriage? Why this marriage? Why do I want to get married? Okay, Kingsley, do we have you now?
Let's see how it goes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
We will try. Yeah.
Okay. Purpose and marriage, like I said, it's not a man's idea, it's God's idea. And we all need to know that purpose should come before marriage. That's it. Why? Because if you check the pattern God gave us in the beginning from the first single, that is Adam. There was something God was trying to show us there, which was that God would give Adam everything every single need to get before he brought the woman to him. You get the point? And so he would make Adam to till the ground, to walk in Eden, a particular space where he was supposed to walk. He would do everything he needed to do as a single before it now got to the point where the Bible now said that Adam could not find a helpmeet for himself. And so it would mean in this present age that there are so many things that should come before marriage. And one of them is purpose. And so the first single, that is Adam, which represents every single, not just man, it represents every single. The first single was in his purpose before God gave him a partner. Why? Because on the long run, it's not going to be something about emotions and love. It's going to be about direction. On the long run, it's not just going to be something about I love you, hey, I do this and that. It's going to be about two people working towards a common goal in life. It's going to be more than emotion. You get it? It's going to be more than doing things emotionally. It's going to be about direction and drive. And so going into marriage, we all should know that I should find my purpose, and this is going to help me filter whoever I need in my life. So when I find my purpose as a man, it's going to be easier for me to find a woman who fits into my mode, into my purpose mode. So one of the things I believe purpose does for us before marriage is we don't even need to go looking around for someone to get married to. If you're traveling to Lagos, from where I am, you're going to know people in your space going to Lagos too. So when I'm going to a particular direction, I would find people in that same bus or flight going to the same direction. Do you understand? So purpose helps me find the partner I need going to my direction. So marriage is not just something about getting married, having kids, and dying. No, it's about two parties coming together to fulfill a common purpose in life. And so both parties have to complement each other. I do this, okay, what you're doing is what I like, what I'm doing is what you like. So we come together as a team to become one, not two. We agree, then we execute a common purpose in life. See, on the long run, it is purpose that keeps the parties together, and not just for because so many relationships have ended, marital relationships have ended, that's part of the premise of love. But when it's something about purpose of both parties being together, fulfilling a common goal in life, there's going to be much synergy, there's going to be much togetherness, there's going to be much bond, a very strong bond will be built by both parties and for both parties that would eventually lead to living a life of purpose. The core of the whole thing is every single needs to get for themselves a purpose, then on the long run you will find someone who fits into your purpose mode, then you guys can move on together, which is going to be consummated by marriage, and you guys continue together to fulfill God's purpose for your life on earth.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kinsley. So I would also want to say this. Could you also please try to put it in the chat box or chat box for us to also read what you've said. So because honestly, what I could actually grab, I know I'm struggling to hear you, which I want to believe that every one of us also we did. So please, could you please put that in the comment box? Thank you. Okay. And okay, so what I actually grabbed from welcome everybody, welcome Sister Shola. What I actually grabbed from this section is that purpose is what drives what keeps the marriage, and individually have to have a purpose before coming together. So what Kinsey said, like that was what I said, because you were saying something that actually I was enjoying and I needed it to be on the chat box. It's very, very important. And so what I just wanted us to do is just to have an intro to what marriage is, what purpose is all about. And I think we've done judgment to that. And I would always say this, like, marriage for me is not a marketplace. It's not a place where you go and you feel like, okay, when you get to the market and you can't get what you want to buy, and these people are not speaking your language. You just come out of the market and you go, no, once you are there, it's different. In marriage, you stay there. So we need to put that at the back of Dr. Tim, you said something.
No, not at all.
Okay, so we need to put it at the back of our mind that it's not a joke, it's a serious business. It's not a marketplace where you think you go in and you come out whenever. Okay, so to go into the question, so I will ask us, what did we see as a problem in the story I just read about Susan? What did we see as a problem? Because like I said earlier, like we are looking into this case study as some other people also find themselves in this place. Like, when I just could, what's it called? When I find the man, even if the man is not looking at me, if I try, as in get pregnant, I know, I can hold him and, it will be for me and for me alone and all of that. So in this story of Susan, what can we see as a challenge? What do we see? Yeah. Doctor, you want to say something? You want to start? Okay, Dr. Jen.
I think for me, just from the story you read, one thing that that just strikes me, just even without thinking much or trying to be deep about the characters, is the question I asked myself as I thought about it is, what did Susan want for herself? Because the choices she settled for, I think that's the language I'll use. The choices she settled for made me question or ask, didn't she want better for herself? You said something, she said she doesn't believe in, now I don't know if these individuals are real or they're just made up characters, but you said something that she said, she doesn't believe that a good thing should be kept to oneself, it should be shared. Now, if that kind of mindset in an intimate relationship with another person is already warped, that you would be okay with your spouse or, well, your partner in this case, not being committed solely to you. So it made me question, and it made me ask, what do you want for yourself? What did the lady want for herself? I saw issues of maybe negative self-image, low self-worth is what will make you settle for that. Low self-worth will make you settle for someone who has absolutely no commitment to you. For me, in marriage, there are some deal breakers. And that lack of commitment that is a deal breaker. So if someone is so bold as to not to hide their promiscuity, they're not hiding it from you. So it speaks to maybe on the lady's part, a negative or a very low sense of self-worth, self-esteem, self-image, that because I believe if you know within yourself that you deserve better, your choices might be different. And if that sense of self-worth is there, that I deserve better, and this is the standard of what I want, it will determine what you accept and what you really, say, no, I will cut ties here and I wouldn't stick with this. So I see that. I also see, I'll just say one more point so that I can allow my other panelists to put in their own contributions. I think the marriage for the wrong reason. why would you tie someone down with pregnancy? Pregnancy has never, ever kept someone faithful to you. Pregnancy, a child has never kept someone's heart, bonded to you. It has never. In fact, sometimes the fact that you had a baby for that person even increases the sense of hostility that they have towards you, because they're like, now you've brought me this problem, you've brought me this unwanted responsibility. So I just think the foundations of those relationships, of that relationship in particular, the foundations of using pregnancy to start a marriage relationship is wrong. And then even before then is the lady's own maybe self-image, sense of self-worth. So there are personal issues going on before we even delve into the man. I'll leave the other panelists to continue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, I would actually agree with you on the angle of low the self-esteem issue, right? Yeah, because sometimes when we find ourselves in that situation, we tend to just settle for anything available, right? Dr. Timmy, I would go to you. Before Dr. Timmy, please, for every question, we will take it after. We won't be, please note your questions down, and when it's time for question, we would call for it. Thank you very much. So Dr. Timmy.
Okay, regarding that story, I think something that stood up there for me is the fact that this person might be living, first of all, the marriage has traumatized her. And so I'm trying to also think to the past, because she had been a victim of trauma, and this is just a secondary one, because usually people build up on previous traumas. So what made her so desperate to get married? Was it that she wasn't in a happy home? Is it that the parental system there was making her so desperate to get a man and then get out of the house? There are definitely some things in her background that influenced the decision she made. So I'm already looking at that. I'm also considering the fact that if she had now been traumatized and then she's acting out, because all those behaviors you then described, taking alcohol, living a reckless life, deciding to pay for sex anytime she wanted, those are signs or signals that she's probably going through a process of trauma as at present. So how she's going to be a good mother, how she's going to be of good help to herself or to her child or to the community where she belongs is already challenged. So whatever the case may be, when situations get this bad, the proper thing to do would be to go in for a proper reassessment. Let a person go in to a therapist in all sincerity. I'm not saying this because I'm one, but I'm saying this because there is a strong need to go back to that space where you're going to meet with somebody who is neutral, where you can sit and break down the process, even from the beginning of your life. Because whatever happens to us at every point in time are connected, okay? So that going forward, you can still live a beautiful, fantastic life. The life out there is still beautiful. In fact, in some years down the line, you will be amazed about decisions you'll be making going forward, so that process can help you with healing from past wounds, healing from the present wound caused by this turbulent relationship, and of course, healing going forward, even for her to be able to give her best to our community. And I think that's what I would say to that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I hope we got that. All right. Kingsley, I agree with that, Doctor. Kingsley, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Having listened to your story, I would love to point out the problem first. The problem, my first issue we have is where they met. And so you said they met in a club, if I'm not mistaken. So they met in a club, and I was asking myself questions like, were you expecting someone you met in a particular kind of space as such to give you anything different? You get the point. And so we need to be very careful on what we believe. Because if you're looking for sound values, you need to be very careful to know that at some point in life, you can't find some person with sound values in some space. Now, what I'm trying to say is where we go to, where we meet, where she met him was also influential in what she experienced. You get the point. And so, for example, if you read the story of Samson, you will discover that where Samson met his downfall, where he met Delilah was in a space that he was not supposed to be in at that point in time. And so the space was wrong and the person was wrong.
Okay.
Do you get the point?
I guess there is a comment that says they can't hear you. We can't hear you actually.
So
Can you hear me now?
And that's no, we can't.
no. I'm thinking, could it also be the device you're using? Would you want to change device?
I don't know.
Could it be the audio of that device? If your internet is certain,
Would you mind signing, as in logging out and try to come in again?
okay.
I'm enjoying that location matters. Where they met at the club. Okay, I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Headphone, can you remove that?
Yes, I have. Can you hear me now?
It's still cracky actually.
I think it's my network. My network will be bad the whole day. Can you hear me?
Okay.
We will be
I think
struggling
it's slightly better.
It's better now.
Okay, so what do we do? What do we do?
Now.
Oh my God. Today of our day, what's that network name? Let me come and meet them. Okay, can you speak? Let me hear. Let's see. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, like Haya suggested that you should log out and log in. Let's see if it's going to.
Okay.
All right. So while we get to that, okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome at Kaki today. So we're actually looking at a case study of a lady called Susan that actually met her husband at the club, and she fell in love with the guy at the time, and of course the guy is flex with other women, but she doesn't mind. She never cares about that. So she felt like she wanted this guy to herself, and she thought of a strategy of pregnancy, and she got pregnant for the guy. And well, the guy is still a town guy, and okay, if you want to keep it, you're on your own and all that. So she couldn't find a place to stay. So the guy said, okay, you can move to my place. And the guy is still doing his own thing. And when she realized that this guy is not stopping, like it seems he's not seeing this as a serious matter and is not taking it as a responsibility. So she thought of another to re-strategize, and she got pregnant again. And and at the time where she got pregnant, the guy was already celebrating another girlfriend who got pregnant in another city. So the guy was not with her. He was with the other lady. And when she got the news, she got upset and all of that. And they got into argument. The guy never denied it. The guy moved out of the house and went to the other lady. And she got frustrated and she was traumatized. And she came up with a philosophy that what money cannot buy does not exist, right? So she felt like, okay, let me enjoy my life. She smokes, she drinks, and she paid for sex whenever she wanted. And she just feels that maybe marriage is not meant for everybody, and she's been living in that philosophy till now. So that is a case study we are looking at, like which we see that some other women out there are also living in, because she doesn't even believe there is anything purpose. Like she believes marriage is all about, when I see him, I like him, then I go for it. I don't care whatever purpose we are talking about or how I live my life. Yeah, once money is there, then I'm good. All right, so Kingsley, can we hear you? Maybe we have you now.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Okay, continue, please. Let's see.
Okay, so I was talking about the problem I was able to fish out from this story. Do you understand? So the first problem which I pointed out was where they met.
Yeah, I get that, but it's still not audible. It's not clear, rather.
I don't know. My network
Can we have our technician in the house?
I think we can manage a bit Adironke. I can't well, let me speak for myself, but I think I can get a bit of what he's saying. Maybe if we let him try for like 5 minutes, we'll try to get what he's saying. I can hear what he's saying if I listen really hard. I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that, sorry.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
Hello, can I come in there? I think it's more of a device problem. It's either a device problem or an internet problem. It's either you restart because it's cracking. If it was a network problem, it will be breaking. It will be going up and off. So it's either he restarts his device completely.
No, it's device. I think it's
or he logs out of his Wi-Fi internet and comes back again. Any of those two. But I think he should restart his device first and also restart. So once that he restarts his internet, then maybe you should try that. I think it's more of a device problem.
Let me start my device. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So let me also quickly add this to the conversation while we'll try to wait for Kingsley. What you just narrated again, as in that summary about this lady, trying to make us to get it clearer. She wasn't married to this guy. The guy did her a favor by giving her an accommodation. The guy didn't promise her marriage. They didn't talk about babies. They didn't have all these agreements. Now, that is totally even different from that's trying to just, she is the only one who has an idea that she wants to keep this man. And we're not even sure if she wanted to keep this man for marriage or just to keep him as a living lover. Okay. Now, I think the focus of this conversation is for marriage. The ones who actually even then go ahead to marry, as in someone married this person. Are they in agreement? Was it in alignment? Do you understand the point now? So for that story, I think the fact that there was actually no agreement, no marriage, no contract, nothing, then that defines the reactions. Now, let's bring that same context into marriage, where you have somebody who is married, okay, and yet who is married and yet is still not faithful. Just like Dr. James said earlier, that you have a lot of, what's it called now, inconsistency and adultery ongoing, and the partner, because once married, the agreement of marriage is signed, is the agreement of commitment. That's one of the strongest first focal for marriage, commitment. And then you now have somebody who is not committed, okay? And the lack of commitment is hurting the spouse, the other person in the same space. Now, many times we now have this other person who decides that she can't take this anymore and walks out. I usually explain that in every context of lack of commitment after marriage or when marriage has been in place, there are different factors that we consider before making decisions. One, there are different kinds of adultery. There are different kinds of lack of commitment or not being able to meet up to the commitment of the marriage. So we need to understand what exactly or what kind, and which in this case now, if I'm going to put this same context into marriage, then I would say that, oh, this man who keeps having an affair despite being married to this woman, okay, and he doesn't shy about it. He's not repentant about it. That kind of adultery or that kind of infidelity, we refer to it as for a reason. The person is trying to prove a point. There is a reason he's doing what he's doing. Okay, and once that reason is
is spelt out. Like in this case now, we can see the reason is because he feels he wasn't married to her. He feels she wants accommodation and he has given her accommodation. That's all he owes her as far as he's concerned. Now, bringing back so many things into that, I would, and of course, she decided that she can move on with life. That's a decision. But like I said earlier, that decision would have negative impact on her, on her children, on the community where she is. And so she needs to go in and get healed. When she starts a healing journey, she can better then understand what love. You said she loved the man. She didn't love this guy because love is an amazing thing on its own. Mm-hmm. She wanted this guy. There is a difference between being obsessed about somebody and loving somebody. Okay, so all of these are nitty-gritty that she needs to go and explore in a safe space, and then going forward with full understanding of who she is, mm-hmm. what she needs, what she deserves, then she can make better decisions for herself and her children. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for that. I'm learning. I'm taking notes. All right. Yeah. I actually agree. I agree with that. We talked about this in, I think, in one of the sections we had talking about self-discovery. And last week we actually spoke on, we discussed on the blueprint of relationship. First, knowing yourself, getting to that stage of self-discovery, knowing what you want, and, then, trying to check the values, your values with your partner's value, if they match it together and all of that. Yeah. Okay, so I think I will have to go to the next question while Kingsley join, okay, is coming to the room now. And so I would want to ask, what message do we have for anyone with the same intention as Susan? Like I said earlier, like I can see like thousands of women in that shoe. Like we tend to, we don't have this agreement. There is no agreement on the table. We just move with, let's see how it goes. We move with, okay, he's not saying anything. Maybe silence means yes, or so a lot of assumption. And also with us, like maybe we already have like kind of high expectation for ourselves, things we want, or maybe age inclusive, that I'm already at this age and nobody's coming forward. Let me just get someone to, I just need a child. Everybody have different. So what is our advice actually to those people, actually in the shoe of Susan?
Picking up from what Dr. Timileyin said and what you just said now about assumptions, and I hope it really does answer your question, but what is resonating with me is, are we having the conversations that we should have? So between two people, Susan and Barry, were tough, hard, honest, real conversations had between these two people so that each person knows where they stand. I'm not sure, I don't know if that happened, because that's the danger of working with assumptions. We make assumptions based on what we maybe feel, what we have seen, or what we are projecting based on our own expectations. But if we haven't heard from the other person, how will we know where we stand? So I think because back to this issue of purpose and marriage, there is no random motion where purpose is. Purpose is very, it's something that is definite, that guides you in specific actions, where you take specific steps, where you make specific decisions based on, the vision that purpose has created on your heart about where you're going with your life. So if there are hard, real, honest conversations that are had between maybe or people, the ladies like Susan and men like Barry, it will prevent a situation where one person has to live at the mercy of another person's opinions, another person's suggestions, another person's expectations. Because in the place of hard conversations, we're putting things on the table to say, these are my expectations. This is what I'm prepared to do. This is what I'm not prepared to do. I'm not crossing this line with you. And on the basis of pouring out your hearts, as is where, to each other, you will know what decisions to make about your life. If going back to our case study, if there had been such conversations between Barry and Susan, and Barry had stated it clearly to Susan's hearing that, girl, this baby is not going to bring me and you together. Maybe I'm prepared to support you, support the kid, support you and support the child. Maybe even if I'm generous, I'll set up an accommodation for you. Maybe her choices would have been different. Maybe she wouldn't have settled for that period of time of having to, have a heart broken and seeing all that's been going on. So I would say part of this is having the conversations that need to be had.
Very key. Let's talk about it. Let there be clarity. Very key. Welcome back, Kingsley. Can we have you now?
My network is fixed now. Can you hear me?
Okay, continue.
So I was saying before the whole glitch happened that the place where I feel very problem here the next, because you look at someone somewhere and you're expecting more than what the person can give. I thought you was expecting more than what this guy could offer. From where he came from, she get the point. And so at that point, where she, can you hear me?
No. In fact, yeah, no. So I think I'm gonna do something. Okay, Mayowa, could you please help us with this? Please, could you please help us out with this? And also they suggested if you could type it out. But okay, you're gonna do something for us. As I type, I think Mayowa should go ahead and actually help us on this. Right. Mayowa.
So what do you want me to do now?
What I'm thinking at is maybe you can do a call directly and maybe it could join. And how about that? Maybe you could do a WhatsApp call and so it can contribute from there.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much. So we'll do that. So let me know once that is done. I honestly am missing out on Kingsley's opinion because I am enjoying it and I don't want to miss out on it. Please. Thank you for that. Sorry, Kingsley. Yeah, so Mayowa is going to do a WhatsApp call to you. And so you put your speaker and you can join, I think, from there. Let's try it. I've done that before and it works. So let's see if it can.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, if you have to maybe you have to turn off your or voice note. Yeah, let's try the WhatsApp call and yeah. Maybe you also give us the voice note too. Okay. Yeah, also. Let's just try other options. But I need your content. Very, very valid for this conversation. All right. Okay, so while we are waiting for Kingsley, I think I'll open the floor to our members for contribution and questions. And guys, I just wanted to signify, just raise your hand if you have contributions, if you have questions in regards to what we've been discussing so far. Before I move to the next question. Okay, so I have one question here. As I have a hand here already. Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer, please unmute and go ahead. Wait, I don't know if it's a question or a contribution. Jennifer.
Beautiful morning, everybody. Sorry, I can't put up my face out. I'm very healthy right now, so I'm a mess. So basically, what I observed from this story is the fact that this doesn't just narrow down to the surface of her not knowing who she is. There are some childhood issues that are playing here because there are things that are wrong that has happened in your life over a while, and it becomes a norm. Now, I'll give an instance of a lady that says, I was in the gathering while I was in school and we're talking about battery. And I said, no, a guy is not supposed to beat a lady regardless. And we had so many ladies there. And somebody just said, if my boyfriend doesn't beat me, he doesn't love me. Now, that person needs to be fixed in the mindset because that's not a norm. And the reason why I think another thing too that is her problem is that she needs validation from people. You know, where you dress up and you walk out, and if the person nobody tells you you're fine, your husband doesn't tell you, your friends, you now tell them, can't you look at me and say this clothes is fine? And sometimes these people get scared to be honest with you because they know that what you want to hear from them is something positive. So they end up telling you what you want to hear by saying, yeah.
This is Myra. I don't care ask that I called.
Oh, sorry, please, can you be muted? So basically, I think that's that. Then there was something we said one of the times I joined the panels. I said, singles, while you are waiting, build yourself. Don't just sit down there and be praying, oh, Father, Lord, God, and all that. There's a lot of building that needs to be done from her. Now, she already has this mindset that once you give birth out of wedlock, you're a second-class citizen. Like, man, you're not whole anymore. And a lot of people, even as I'm a Christian, but I would use my religion here. So a lot of people, even as Christians, also believe that once you have given birth out of wedlock, you've committed one kind of sin and all that, and you can never be forgiven. And it affects a lot of their judgments. So another thing too, I kind of agree with the panelists, is the fact that they didn't come to a conclusion. There was no conversation. We also said that that communication is paramount. So she didn't even have any conversation. She had gotten married to the guy in her head. She, because the red flags were very big. She had gotten married, done their shwebi, seen their grandchildren, everything. And the guy was just at the point of, let me just check this babe out. I have seen situations whereby, okay, now she didn't end up getting married. Someone like me, I love to look at the bright and the right side of every situation. I would say, thank God. Imagine if after gathering people, we now had to do a divorce, like go through the whole stress and everything. But she's not seeing it that way. She's still looking for validation from people. I really don't, it's not something we can just say, this is this is that. She needs a lot of work. She needs to see a counselor. She needs to see a relationship coach. She has to work on herself. Because the way it's going, she can even transfer aggression to the child. And the child begins to become bitter, sad. I have seen a person that the family was telling, oh, I don't even know what is wrong with you. I could have, I don't know, I told them they should sell you and use your money to buy Gary. You're telling a living being. So I think she needs to be fixed. And I guess that's my contribution. Thank you so much to all the panelists, and thank you for hearing me out at Adirunke. Bye.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We really appreciate. Okay, I before I go into the next question, I think I have Kingsley back live with us. So let's try to hear you, Kingsley.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I guess I stopped where I was talking about where she met the guy. Yeah, because I believe as singles, we speaking to singles, and definitely I believe those who are married would agree, where you meet, people are made of modes, people are made of patterns, people are made of programming, and you cannot take away where someone is from their programming. Do you get the point? So I so strongly believe that where she met the guy was the first problem. I know that, yeah, there are exceptions, but the point is that is a problem. And so you are expecting much from a guy who is always out there on a weekly basis with different women. Do you get the point? Do you understand? So she was expecting much from this guy who she knows that she was just one of those ladies he meets on a weekly basis. And so if she was expecting commitment from someone like that, then it was too much to demand for. She was demanding too much from him. Do you understand? And so that was a major problem. She was demanding too much from a guy who was always out there on weekends to look for a different girl. And so that alone was the programming she could not change from him. I mean, if he was with her at that moment, the next week he was with somebody, and you said something that she was not bothered about that factor. And who says you should not be bothered about factors like this? Who says you should not put these things into considerations? You should know that whatever someone shows up, whatever habit, whatever things you see are not to be taken for granted, are not to be taken lightly, because they are the makeup of whoever that person is. So everything she saw was not a lie. The problem most singles make is they want to pretend they are not seeing what is obvious. They want to pretend they are not seeing these red flags. And you, like this lady, the lady who just made this her comment some minutes ago, she hit the point. There are things we need to look out for. We need to engage our partners in conversations, like deep conversations. One of the speakers in this platform also said something like that. Conversations should be brought to the table. I need to know you. For crying out loud, if I met you in the club, I should not be expecting you to want a commitment that would be far from what you normally do. And for example, you know that I live my life like that, and you want me to come, okay, now pregnancy would keep you. No, that's not it. Do you know how many ladies have kept in the same situation that could not keep me? And you cannot be the exception at any time like this. So where they met was a major pattern is wrong. The way she thinks is wrong. The way she has been programmed to think is wrong. Everything about her thinking was wrong, because first, she met him somewhere in a club. Second was this, that she was expecting to keep him with a child. And you don't keep a man because he has a child with you, no. I mean, you just become one of his baby mamas. You get the point? So you don't keep a man because he has a child with you. I mean, you could say, I don't get married to you. You don't force people to get married to you. It's a mutual thing. It's something that should come, it's a consent. It's on both parties' consent. We should agree. It should flow. It should not be forced. And so when you get pregnant, you don't tell me I should get married to you because you got pregnant, and say, okay, if this did not work, I should get pregnant again. I mean, you're becoming the victim. She was becoming the victim in the whole situation. She was the victim in the whole story. The guy was just living his life. And so she came into his life trying to change him to become the man she wants, which is obviously a wrong trajectory to follow. Do you understand? It is a wrong path to follow. When you see people, that's why the topic is very, very important, purpose and marriage. When you see people living their life in a specific way, in a particular way, I think as singles, we should not try to change them. No. Instead, find someone whose value system aligns with yours. Find someone whose lifestyle aligns with yours. Find someone whose major core values aligns with yours. Because the root of everything we see is domiciled in core values. I mean, the way I live my life, if I'm going for a partner who lives on the opposite, it's going to be a tough war for me. And I might not win. The court might win. It might end up in divorce. Do you understand? So she met someone who was probably living his life in a reckless way, and she went into his life, into his world, and she was trying to pull him out of his world, which was an is always a problem. It is difficult. Let people live their life. Find someone who fits into your mold, and you guys should live life together. So the problem has, rather, as I've been able to explain, is centered on our programming. I so much believe as singles, we should know about this thing called marriage. It's not enough for you to follow popular bloggers out there. It's enough for you to be educated, because one of the things the internet has provided for us is education. And so going to school for someone like me did not educate me as much as I'm educated now. I mean, in the real life context, we need a better education, and we can get it for ourselves. There are books out there that can educate us. You don't get married, you don't go close to someone just because you want the person you want to force yourself into the person's mode. I mean, purpose aligns this. When it's purpose, my mode, your mode, we come together, we form a mode, we move on the same trajectory, we move on the same direction. But she met this guy in the club, she met this guy who was doing his thing, he had everything he wanted, she moved in with him, had the first issue, had the second one. I mean, she was the victim in the whole story. So I think it's her problem. It's majorly her problem. She didn't know what she wanted. She didn't know the type of man she deserves. She didn't know that she had the problem with her programming. She needs, if this is a true life story, I think, and I wish this lady was listening to this, she needs to do a serious overhauling on everything that has been programmed in her mind. She needs to learn so many things before she goes into some other relationship. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, I think Dr. Jem also mentioned if this was a real life story or it was a character, it was a stage. So it's actually a true life story, and for us to know that there is no story we share on this platform that are not real life story. So they are real life story. They could come in a case study, but they are real life story. So I think let me thank you for that, Kingsley. It is very, yeah, thank you for that. So you talked about location, which is very, very important. You talk about self-identities, as in what you know, what you want for yourself, who you are. And you talked about clarity too. You talked about conversation, having a dialogue, and which is very, very important, that we are all on the same page. You don't want something just because you don't hold something down just for your own, as in present, what's it called? Survivor. It is what you needed at your kind of mindset. So you have to know why you want what you want. So thank you for that. So I would actually go to the next question from Zephora. I don't know if it is contribution or question. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Adironke. It's actually a question. Please, I was going to ask, thanks so much. The panelists, you guys have done so much justice to the topic, and I've really learned a lot today. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask, so would you say all hope is lost, or would you say it's too late if for some weird reason you didn't have the right conversation you should have had just regarding purpose and what you think you want out from your life and what your partner wants, and you guys are already deep into marriage? How would you say there's still hope, and how would you advise that the couple retrace their steps, especially if they have that conversation and realize, or not even having the conversation, but as life goes on and they're in that marriage, they realize that, okay, we actually want two different things, but then at the same time, they feel like they need to still stay together for sake of their faith or whatever reason it may be. Well, how do you think they can remedy the situation? Yes, so that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. So before I allow our panelists to answer the question, I want to add to the questions. Also, this particular question goes to the married ones. So I want to ask on behalf of the singles. So, and also the intending couples. So if you find yourself already in a relationship, which like your purpose doesn't align, or you don't really have so many conversations, and you think, okay, maybe you guys are already headed into marriage. So how would you advise such person to also react, and what would you advise a person? And Dr. Jem, let me go first to you.
I was hoping Dr. Similayan would start first, because she's the expert in this. But if I'm going to take just my $10 million response to Zipporah's question. I believe, now this is my mantra. I believe life, when I say life, I mean life as you want it. I believe life can start at any point in your life, as long as you are willing to do what is necessary to move your life forward. So if we have two people in such a situation, I wouldn't say all hope is lost. Are these two individuals willing to stay together? Are they willing to put in the work? Number one, do they want to stay together? I think that's the first question. Do they want to stay together? Are they willing to put in the work, the sacrifice that the relationship or the union or the marriage requires for it to heal, for it to move forward? Whatever the effort will be it counseling, be it the honest conversations, be it, dropping the bad habits, be it deliverance, if that's what they need to go through. But seriously speaking, if they are willing to do, if they're willing to stay together, if they are willing to work on their relationship, on their marriage, then hope is not lost, because what they now need is, tools to help them move forward. They may require counseling. They may require, seeing therapists and seeing different people for different aspects of their lives. They will require to make certain changes. They will require to be committed to make the changes that are required to move their relationship forward. So I wouldn't say that hope is lost. There can be a turnaround for any relationship at any point, as long as both of them are willing, to do what is required, and they want to be together to make it work. So that's what I will say in that instance. And sorry, Adironke, I think I've just quickly forgotten what you said.
For the
question. Yes. Can you just quickly rehash that for me?
For the singles who also find themselves, maybe they're intending couple and, they find themselves in a relationship where, they felt that, okay, some of the things they are having together are not aligned. Some of their visions are not aligned.
Oh, that's the easiest. The fact that there is no commitment yet, the fact that you haven't entered into a marriage contract yet. So and Kingsley keeps saying this, Kingsley has mentioned this many times about, if your values don't align, and if this is a deal breaker for me, I won't be able to live with this because marriage is a lifetime. Ideally, it's a lifetime. Are you able to live with this person for the rest of your life? Can you cope with this person's paradigm or this person's view towards life? So I think for the singles is the easiest, honestly, because once you find yourselves to be a tangent, two lines in different directions, it's very easy. Since there's no commitment, you can go your different ways, really. That's just my own take on that. I think it's very easy in the case of singles. Once you find that your values are not aligning, and especially if these values are something that you cannot compromise on, there is no point in putting yourself into a situation that will be a lifetime of regret and anger, and then bitterness and all sorts of things will come up in the end. All right, so that's my brief take on that. I'll let Dr. Timileyin take over from here, and Kingsley. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
Dr. Timi, but you should also put into consideration, there are sometimes you find yourself in a relationship, deep, just, in a courtship relationship, and, it's difficult, after discovering that there are some values that are not aligned, I know
yours, yes,
to come out of it. So how can we do that? Emotions is already entangled, and, so please.
Let me say this quickly. Let me take the first angle, which is the married ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All hopes are not gone. That's the truth. That's answering Zipporah now. No, all hopes are not lost. Okay. However, we need to be realistic. Dr. James said something about if two of them are willing. There is a saying that except the two agree. He said if the two of them agrees, there's a place of coming together. Remember I said earlier when we started out, the major lead why marriages crash or why challenges keeps being unbearable in marriage is because the marriage doesn't have where it's heading from the very beginning. There was no purpose for that union, only that we just came together, we had children, and once that purpose has been fulfilled, there's nothing else keeping us. We've already had the kids. We've already, maybe some people get married because they want to relocate. We've already done that. So there's really nothing holding us. So the key ingredient here is the willingness on both parties. Now, so let me take this other angle. What if it's only one party that really wanted, like the case study we actually had, and the other party didn't want it? Okay, so you see, you will be dragging an horse to the river, but you can drag it to drink. You would only force this man, and he doesn't want the relationship. So already it's challenged. Now, this is what I usually recommend at this point. I would say to a client, I would say to them, you want this union, you want this marriage, but this other person is not in agreement with you. It's okay. So this is what you do. Begin to love yourself. Begin to take care of you. Begin to grow. Begin to be your fullness. You know what? The truth is the person is not loving you. The person is not liking you because you do not look like the kind of person they would want. So we can always change that narrative. We have found women or people who had come into someone's life who you never believed you could ever love in the first place. But by virtue of attitude, by virtue of being able to understand and speak the love language of the other person, then you begin to wait them to your side. It's going to be a very long journey. It's a very, very difficult, long, lonely journey. I need to say that. And I used to say that if you know you can't actually be emotionally strong enough to pull this off, then back off, move on with your life and get somebody who will love you without stress. But if you really feel, okay, no, it's this person and it's this person, all hopes are not lost, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of changes on your side, a lot of sacrifice, okay? But it's very possible to make somebody love you, although it's going to be tough. Now, that being said, let me take you to the singles, okay? For those who are single and you're in a relationship and the person is not feeling your vibe, I mean, the person is not connecting to you the way you are committed to it. It's already a signal that the relationship might not be for you. Let me say this clearly. Kingsley said something earlier when he talked about purpose coming even before marriage, and that it's very healthy, it's very needful for you to marry someone who, when you already understand your purpose and you're probably on the same purpose wavelength. I need to also put this into perspective for us. The truth is purpose is key, especially you knowing that love is also key. And love is not something you force on somebody. In recent time, I had people, there's one very good example of two people who felt they aligned, the type of purpose. Okay, you know what? Our purpose aligned. You are a goal-driven woman. I am also a goal-driven woman. I plan to relocate. You also plan to relocate. I plan to have children outside the country. You want to have a good life outside the country too. I plan to have 2 kids. You also are cool with 2 kids. I plan to have motherless homes and help people. You also plan to have, so our purpose seems to align, and that was why they married. Now they've been married for how many years? No, just a few years, just some few months down, not even up to a year. Right now, they are divorced. You know why? Because they are not emotionally connected. The man couldn't even get aroused whenever he comes close to this woman. And he gets aroused with other women whom he likes their body shape, their body positions, and all that. So you see, it's a lot is involved. Okay, so it's not just about you thinking, at least we align, we have so much in common. There are needs for every space. Purpose has its own space. Physical attraction has its own space. Love has its own space. Even religion. Faith has its own space in the choice of a partner. So please, I would want to say if you are single and you realize already that it's like we don't share the same values on some areas. Usually I tell some of my clients to just do a scale of 1 to 10, list the important values to you. If you're not sure what those values are, I usually recommend, I'm sorry, but this might sound a bit Christian, but I usually recommend 1 Corinthians 13 when it talks about love, the characteristics of love. So I used to tell them, write it out. If you write those characteristics, okay, so love is patient, love. So put the name of the person in front of those characteristics and find out if it aligns with yours. Now, out of 10 values, you're struggling to count 5 where both of you align. Please and please, you don't have to stress over this. You deserve a good person in your life, whether male or female, and you will find. Rather than sticking all your energy into one and fighting the struggle, like Dr. James said, if you are still single, then it's much easier. You would find somebody who will love you and who will feel in at least 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and even 10 of your values. It's very possible that you can have that. So that's what I would say.
Wow, that's deep. Thank you, Dr. Timmy. Thank you for that. Yeah, we've heard. And, we are jotting it down too. Okay, so Kingsley, over to you, please. Kingsley.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Please, the question, I would need a recap on the questions because, I'm not on the other platform.
Okay, Zipporah, can you ask your question again, please?
Yes, sure. So, Dr. Jem and Dr. Timmy have done so much justice to you. Thank you. But I'd love to hear what Kingsley's thoughts are. I was saying that what if you're married, and then for some reason you didn't have these conversations, you didn't have the right conversations at the onset, and now you've gone into marriage, God has helped you guys retrace your steps, and then you come to the understanding that, okay, we aren't really on the same page, our purposes don't necessarily align. I was asking, is all hope lost? Can something be done? Can anything be remedied out of the situation? And what's the way forward for a married couple?
Okay, so I also had that to for the singles. So I was speaking for the singles that, okay, how about if we find ourselves in a relationship and our values seems not to really align like 100%, and we are so emotionally attached, the vibes is just going, and we don't want to, we want to kind of compromise. So what's your advice to us too? Okay, over to you, Ken.
Okay, thank you very much once again. Let me start from the part of the singles.
Okay.
Before I now go to the lady's question, the one she just asked. When you are in a relationship, I've studied something and I've seen that we love, in our lifetime, get to love as much as we can. In our lifetime, in the lifetime of everyone, we get to love as much persons as we can. So this is a revelation of the fact that I'm speaking to singles. This is a revelation of the fact that you choose who you love. And so the choice, the thing called love is a choice. It's usually a subconscious choice that is translated to the physical actions of the influx of emotions and everything we do. The point I'm trying to make here is this, that you are in love, fine. But when I counsel singles, I tell them, now let us bring 2 things out. The emotional and the logical part of it. The emotional part of it is that I love you. That is, my emotions are geared towards your direction. I would always love to call you, check up on you. I love you, yes. I've said the countless number of times to you. Now, but the logical part of it is that our values don't align. And where there is where there is where values don't align, it is difficult for both parties to work together in harmony on a long stretch. And that is why you find relationships that both parties have issues. Like they can't just go 7 days without having issues. It is not because the love is not there. Love is there. But the point is that the values don't align. And when values don't align, it makes the relationship a tug of war. Because we all have what we believe. Our core values, our belief systems need to align for us to build a beautiful relationship. It is not just about being in a relationship. It's about being in a beautiful relationship. After all, that is why you decided to go into the relationship. So for singles, it has happened to me before. And I've been able to learn from my own experience that before if I'm going into a relationship that I want to lead to marriage, I need to know who the person is. I need to know what your values are. What do you believe in? What are those things you see as pertinent? What are those things you see as good and bad? The point is that we can always find someone whose values align with ours. And so you should not cloud yourself with the fact that I'm not going to get a better partner just because I love this one. If I love you and our value system don't align and we don't have the same thought patterns, we don't have the same kind of programming, it would mean that on the long run, we're going to hurt ourselves. And so it is better I shift away and wait for someone who can understand the things I understand. So that's for singles. Now, for those who are married, I believe there is no problem that doesn't have a solution. And that's true. There is no problem that doesn't have a solution. The point is when we focus on the problems and forget about the solution. So the problem now is that they don't believe the same things and maybe they do things differently. I think it's now in the hands of both parties to come together. Since we are married, we should come together, sit down, and table all these things. This is what I believe, this is what you believe. There is still a common ground. That was why you guys got married. There is still a common ground. I mean, you guys did not just wake up and get married the next day. There is still a common ground. There is something binding you guys together. Since you guys have left the dating phase and cutting phase, you guys are now married. There is still a common ground. What are those common grounds? Bring them out. For example, we got married, and while we were dating, we discovered that, we like these things together. We had dreams of this together. Bring out those common grounds, because as much as you guys don't have major things in alignment, there are still minor things that when you measure on them could produce good results for yourself. Because the system of marriage, it has to be something for both parties and not just for one person. And so amidst the whole anger of not doing things together, not having the same beliefs, not having the same values, both parties can still come together, sit down, keep every walls outside, let down your walls, let down your guards, be vulnerable, be open. This is what is hurting me about what you do. Okay, the other party says the same.
Okay.
He's reconnecting, sorry.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we know what's up. No problem. Okay, thank you for that, Kingsley. So guys, please, if you have questions, you have contribution, please raise your hand. Just signify by raising your hands, and we will take your question or contribution. So we are coming to the final note of today's session, and that is a question I would want us to answer. And we are always used to the what of what it is, what's the when, the why, but the aspect of how is something we tend not to get in most most of the books or whatever things we are exposed to, information we are exposed to. And the goal of this platform actually is to help us break relationship and be good, so we could live healthy relationship lifestyle, right? and we want to know the how. So how do we live purposefully? How can we achieve that? So we could, when we are living a life full of purpose, then we know, okay, when I see my man, because another thing, I remember last meeting now, which was last week, we talked about, speaking of values, even one of our panelists from last week is also actually in the room today. So speaking of values, we also want to talk about, when we are saying it's aligned, even if you can tick that, okay, we have, we want to go to the abroad together, tick, we want to have 2 kids, oh, 2 of us have the same common and all that. We also need to understand what it means to the other person. So you can understand if we want to go to the abroad together, like they used to say it, which part of the abroad you want to go to, right? So is it you want to go to the Netherlands and me, I want to go to the UK. So we want to be sure. No, I don't like the Netherlands. I don't. So why? So you also want to understand the language you guys speak. Okay, so I speak love, and you also said you speak love. So what is love to you? So I speak transparency. You also speak transparency. What is transparency? So you guys want to know what these values really, really have to each other, and want to know. Okay, we are also speaking the same thing. All right, no problems. Then that is when we can actually tick it. Okay, so before I move to the last question, I think Jennifer, as she raised her hand. Okay, could you unmute yourself and go ahead?
Okay, please. I just wanted to give a contribution in regards to the how for the single ladies. So I know for those of us that already know me, we're aware that I was in a relationship for 6 years and we broke up. Oh, it's going to a year now. Amazing. So if we wanted to look at our visions and everything, it made sense. I wanted to have this orphanage. He wanted the same thing. Everything I was saying, like before, sometimes I wouldn't even tell him. I would write them down. And maybe when I call, I'm like, okay, what do you think about it? It's like, oh, did you spy into my mind? So in my mind, like, genge, we are in sync and everything. Until we started having conversations. And trust me, I know according to what we had in the group yesterday, we were friends. We didn't even know we date. People were just like, why are you guys always talking about? Are you guys going to date or something? Date already? I'm like, no, nothing like that. Well, we ended up dating and I felt like, man, I'm walking on the road. Nobody's calling me. If you even try it, I'm not looking at your face. Who are you? I've already seen somebody I want to get married to. So in my head, I've done everything. Until conversations started coming. And I asked the question in regards to religion. And I know he's a Christian. So at some point he stopped going to church. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. What are you angry with? The person that gave you life, okay, he started. From my first relationship, I already said I was not going to change anybody. If it wasn't working, it wasn't working. But stubborn me. I think the modern nature in me, I still try to talk about a lot of things. Until one day we had a conversation in regards to when he has his place. And he said, once we get married, my mom must come and stay with me 1 year. And I'm like, okay, what happens? Your mom's sick. He said, no. I'm like, is her hand broken? Like, I don't understand. He said, no, that's like traditional, this first son. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you have other siblings now. You guys are about 11. She can go anywhere. Not this one. We're just planning to get married and you're telling me. And he says, no, it's a fact. It's a thing. I'm like, me, I tick that one. I say, that means very soon they will tell me to kneel down to serve food. Okay. That one passed. So we had another issue in regards to finance. So while we're in school, he was doing some other jobs. So he traveled back. I traveled back. And at one point he was complaining money. Me, I'm a free person. I believe in a relationship, everybody can contribute. So there are times he needs, I would give to him, and I barely receive. I know they ask, if you give me, fine. If you don't give me, it's your business. I already have that. I'm not depending on anybody because I've seen it crumble a lot of things. So he took advantage of that for a very long time. If I call the amount of money he took with, I will return. Maybe people will slap me like, this girl, what is wrong with you? The signs were glaring. So what am I trying to say with all this? Breaking away from that, friends knew us, everything. They were even saying, my friends would call up like, which day when I won't marry? Waiting. I'm like, you guys should calm down. I don't choose color. I will laugh about it. Until I realized that I stopped sharing my wins with him because there's a way he reacts. When I tell him, man, guess what? Hey, my dad just gave me this money, and he'll be like, oh, that's nice. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Your own is good now. Yeah, I've not done one thing. I'm like, I will not start feeling bad that good things are happening to me. So he will take advantage of that, extort from me. And there were still other things that I would talk about, and he doesn't have a view on it. So me, for peacemaker, I would be like, okay, let it slide. So until a day I said, no, this is not nice. I'm becoming scared to talk to him about things. I'm not even as close as I used to be. I would rather talk to a friend. I even had to make a friend outside the whole relationship kind of thing. To cut the long story short, I now call the counselor. And this is not something I would do because I talk to my friends about their relationship. I tell them what to do, that kind of the doctor that needs drug. And I called the counselor and I was talking to him. I'm like, oh, sir, this, that. And the counselor was telling me, you don't do this. It's not right. I would defend. I'm like, sir, you don't get. This person was there for me. And I'm like, do you want me to talk to you? Or, I'm like, no, I want you to talk to me. But I'm just like, I just need like a different opinion apart from my family and friends. And till the counselor shouted at me. I'm like, you think they bring this one? Why are you shouting at me? And he said, if you were my sister, you would have left the relationship. The red flags are so much. If you want to be honest with yourself, look within. Imagine me now, it would be nice for me to say, for him to say, I don't want again, I will cry, I will blame it on him. Now, how will I now open my mouth and say this thing? So I had to call him and I said, well, I spoke and I'm seeing that we're good with a lot of things, but there are things that are very paramount that we need to fix. And he said, what's that? I'm like, okay, you have a traditional something that you're not talking about. There's something you're not talking about. And one time I wanted to go to his house. He said, oh, you can't come now because the last girl that came, just give one kind of Kokambu Christian girl. I'm like, okay, no problem. And at the end of the day, I just said it was over. Now me break up, now me they cry. So it was bad. I had support system. I had support system for about 2 weeks. They would call me every day. After 2 weeks, I started saying, what is even wrong with these people? They don't even know what I'm feeling. They can't call me. They can't do this. And I would still pick his call. He would call and he would tell me, you're this, you're the reason why that is. But there was one thing he said when I said, we're done. He said, thank you for taking the burden off me. Expect karma to come to you. You can never find anybody as good as me. And I responded, you are welcome. Of course, I will never find anybody as good as you. I will find somebody better than you. I don't settle for less. And the minute I said that, it turned into battle. I had to block his number and everything. And it was a lot because this is somebody that if I'm even in the toilet, I'll pick up like, oh, guess what? Oh, something just happened. I think my poop has turned to red. So it's somebody that we were really good friends. So for a single that is thinking about it, would you rather go through this now, talk about it and say, sorry, we are not enemies, but let's go through the pain? And one person that helped me go through this whole thing was God. I started downloading Christian messages in regards to relationships, started studying my Bible. I stopped listening to This Life, I Can't Keep all those kind of songs. Sorry, I don't want it. My mental health is not okay. So I started listening to things that if I listen to them, it uplifts me. And I now channel that energy of crying into my work. And I started doing better. Like, when you're trying to work and forget, till somebody called me and said, you are not okay. Stop acting like a strong girl. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you have been in a relationship for 20 years, his family already calls you my daughter-in-law, our wife. His mother already calls you every Saturday to come and go shopping and everything. You still have the window open. You better run now. Because if you don't run, I don't know, you'll be more broken and more shattered because you guys would always have to see because you will not have a child together. And maybe the court would say, give him the chance to always come and see his child. And when you see him, the whole thing will wake up again. So stop thinking about how hard it's going to be and trust God to help you heal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that, really. So it's a choice. Marriage is a choice. So you choose to either be happy or, so is your choice. However, what we are teaching here and what we are preaching is that you choose the positive way and the one that leads to a healthy life. Okay, so my question, I guess Tinsley is still with us. Thank you very much for that contribution, Jennifer. And so I would want to rephrase my question again. And so that would be like, okay, why is it important for us to live purposeful before marriage, and how can we do that? Dr. Jem?
I'm going to piggyback off Jennifer's story. Thank you, Jennifer, for your honesty and for just being open about your own personal experience. I'll piggyback off what Jennifer has shared to answer that question and say, number one, what just stands out for me from that story, that it is unhealthy for one person to dumb down themselves in a relationship to make the other partner happy. Why? Because in a partnership, such as a marriage relationship, I think it's important that spouses should be able to encourage, themselves, encourage one another to express their potentials to the fullest. So be it spiritual potentials, be it professional potential, be it personal potentials in any relationship. If it's, dating, courting before marriage, and then when it moves to marriage, each one of us should be able to express our potentials to the fullest. So to dumb down oneself is already problematic, which leads me to the how of living purposefully. And that's where I'll take it from. For me, one of the ways is to live to your full potential, develop your potentials. Purpose is, we say purpose is discovered, and I think, it's already inside of us. And just like potentials are already inside of us, potentials are not something that are imparted by laying of hands on anybody. No, they are inside of you. And I think potentials are one of the pointers to what our purpose is. Kingsley and Dr. Similayi have spoken about developing oneself, building oneself. And that's the pointers to this potential story I'm talking about. Develop your potentials. Find what they are. What is it? Some other person might want to use potentials and say talent, skills. I call it, I think potentials are deeper than that, and they may encapsulate skills, talents, and all that. It talks about the limitless possibilities that are inside of one. And a marriage, and I think I'm going to end on this note, that a marriage, a relationship can create the atmosphere for the multiplication or the explosion of your purpose, of your potential. There is one of our, huge pastors in Nigeria who, the wife, I listened to a story she shared. She said when they got married, she just thought, okay, I'll be a pastor's wife, I'll be happy. But years into the marriage, as her husband went on in the ministry, doing his work, living his purpose, doing what God had called him to do, she began to be resentful because there she was just sitting at home, not knowing what to do, 4 children, nothing to do. Then she tapped into herself and she discovered what she liked. She started, she channeled her energies toward what she felt she was skilled to do. Now she's got a thriving ministry. That is, yes, they still work together as husband and wife, but she's got her own personal identity as a solid female minister in the body of Christ. The point I'm trying to make is develop your potentials. Find what it is that you have been gifted with, that God has put inside of you. It is potent, it is inside of you. And develop that, build it. It will take discipline. It will be uncomfortable sometimes. It will be, it won't come, sometimes it won't be pleasant, but it might need sacrifice. So develop your potential. It's one of the pointers to what your purpose is in life.
It's a take home, right? I actually agree with you, Dr. Jem, because I remember that when I got married, right? So I wasn't living my dream. I haven't even discovered it yet. So I got married, and in marriage, I was like, okay, because I just know that I love music and I play the piano. And so like, auntie, that your music and you have to put it one side. I am into agriculture, into poultry business. This is my dream and this is what we have to do. We don't have two dreams. We don't have two goals in this house. It is just one. That's it. I had to live with it because I didn't even know. I only know, okay, I'm a music person and all of that. So I had to put my piano once. In fact, at some point, I had to just give it to one of my keyboardists. Like, I just gave it out and all of that. So I actually agree with that. You have what we just have to discover yourself, even when you're in marriage, like the story you shared of the pastor's wife and all of that. Later on, she's actually living her dream and she's living it to the fullest. I agree with that. Thank you for that. And Kingsley, over to you, please.
Your question, please, Erica. Just the brief one.
Okay, so I said, could you tell us, so why is living purposefully before marriage important and how do we live purposefully?
Okay, it's very, very important.
Sorry, we can't hear you. You're speaking very far from the speaker.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
For someone like me, my concept is purpose is the reason that we should go into marriage and not just because we want to get married. You get the point? So
repeat that, please.
It's so I feel as singles, we on your purpose before marriage, or you are doing everything you can to get to it before marriage. Contrary to popular opinions, where we've often had, marriage is one beautiful thing, which it is, but most people do not really prioritize the part that purpose should come first. It is important because I feel in going to marriage, I and my partner should have something we are doing. We should go for a common goal. On a daily basis, we should wake up to a common thing. We should wake up to one thing. It is not what you are doing. It is not what I am doing. It's what we are doing. So that is why, and come to think of it, it even makes us bond together. If we wake up every day to doing one thing, then it means that we are on the same path. So it is important that we find it and find someone who can help us stick to it. Because there are some persons you date, you totally drift off your purpose. There are some persons who are not even bothered about this purpose thing. They don't even care about these things. Why? Because it doesn't even make sense to them. There are other things that are making sense to them. But the truth is, we need to find us so that we can know someone who is also purpose driven. The point is, when you know a purpose driven person, you can be able to know someone who is purpose driven. And so it starts with you first. It is important. It starts with you first. Then you can say, oh, this person is also purpose driven. And we have similar things that we want to do in life. Can we agree? Is this what you want to do? Can we do this together? I mean, for a guy, I am, and if I find a lady who is driven in the same direction that I am, and we are doing the same thing, and we are going towards the same path, it is going to be easier for us to move into marriage. It's not going to be stressed. It's not going to get any hassle. We just move into it and continue what we are doing. So it is important. My first reason is that so that marriage will not just be something you go into because you're old. You go into because people are saying get married. You go into because the other person is putting pressure on you. You go into it because you have found someone worth spending the rest of your life with, because both parties are gunning for a common cause, are living for a common purpose. That is it. So it's important because on the long run in marriage, it's going to make much more sense in the sight of everyone around you, in your heart, in the sight of your children, that these people are living for something. I mean, who doesn't want to live for something very important? Who doesn't want to embed their name in the sands of time and the hearts of men? So this is the reason I believe purpose is very, very important before marriage. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Timmy, so over to you, please.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So quickly, I'll just put this in different aspects. One is that being friends or being best friends does not make us best couples. A lot of people think that, oh, I must marry my friend, and so because he's my friend, then we are going to be excellent together as a couple. No. I've had a scenario whereby there was a guy and a lady who were best of friends, and this guy was actually dating somebody else, and he had a breakup with his fiancée. Okay, and it was really emotional for him because they were already planning the wedding or thereabout. And he broke down crying, and his best friend, that's this girl, this other lady, who they grew up together. They've always done things together. They were very intimate, as in very close friends. And she was there, she was trying to comfort him. And in the process of comforting him, something led to the other. They had sex. And she got pregnant. And because of that, he had felt, of course, both of them felt responsible. Like, oh my goodness, okay, I couldn't marry my fiance. This is my friend and she's pregnant. Okay, so let's go ahead and marry. Thinking that since they were best of friends. In fact, their family testified to their relationship, their friendship. But then 5 years, 10 years down the line, they were best of enemies. So please, I keep emphasizing that there is more to having a successful marriage. It's not just being friends. It's not just, okay, so please, let me take that. One of the key things I would also want to leave it also, I want us to take away from today's conversation is the importance of healing from our past wounds. If you carry the luggage or the baggage from the past relationships you had into the new one, it's going to have negative impact. The same way, if you carry the baggages from your parents, from your family background, from where you're coming, and you're going with that same baggage into a relationship or a marriage, it would also give you challenges. So I would always recommend that make deliberate effort to heal from your wounds. If you know you are emotionally shattered, you know you didn't grow up in a very fantastic way, you knew you didn't see your parents enjoy marriage, you know you've never really witnessed what a good marriage looks like. Please don't jump into marriage. Don't think you already know it because you've read the books. It doesn't work that way. A lot of unconscious learnings are taken into marriage and we see it play out. Okay, so please, that's another key thing. Another one is that you have to become whole. You have to become a full, whole person. Marriage is not the union of half and half. You know, at least I'm good enough to some extent. Okay, Isu is good enough to some extent. So we marry ourselves and then we become one. No, it doesn't work that way. What usually happens is the half and the half. This is the only arithmetics where half and half does not make one. It is one and one that makes one in this union. Once you have one, a whole one, and then you have half, someone who is half, that half person would trouble this person who is whole. Okay, and that's why it's important that you become whole. Someone asked the question at the speaking engagement where I was and said, how do you find the right person? And I said to them, if you want to find the right person, you need to be the right person first. So go and work on you. Make sure you have developed yourself. When you do these things, you know, like Dr. Jem was talking about self-development, and she was listing different things, different areas where you could groom you. Once you do, you become valuable. And once you become valuable, you would attract value also. Value attracts value. Okay? And it's important that you take note of this. Another thing I would also want to point out is this common mindset in this generation that says, for better for stay, for bad for go. Okay? And you know, it's amazing how that has become a trend now. It started out, I think, in the 90s. When we started hearing that slang, you know, early 20s, people start saying it, like for better for stay. You know, but now in this 2020, these in the past 10 years, it's not even a saying anymore. It has become the trend. Once we get into a marriage and it's not comfortable or we have challenges, the exit door is always open. No, that shouldn't be the way. That shouldn't be. What you're going into, and that's why you should do your assignment thoroughly. Before you marry, don't jump. Don't be in a haste. Don't be desperate. Okay? Make sure you are certain that this is a life affair. This is something I'm going in for the rest of my life. I don't have an exit door. Once that is ingrained in the mind, it begins to help you to before you even make the choice. But when you're already thinking, just like every one of us, when you know there's an alternative, if I make mistake, I can always do the second one. You would try it out. But if you know there is no alternative, it's a life matter. If I go in there, I'm going to die there. Then it becomes conscious for us to make the right choice before we go in there. Okay. And then coming to the area of purpose now. I had said that somebody had said something about sacrificing your own dreams, and then what the other person is demanding that this is my own, we have to do my own dream and all of that. In the place of purpose, you have to first of all sit down and align it. Let's see what you have in plan. Does it align with the vision this person has? Bring it together and see if it's aligned. If it's not aligned, it's not bad. It doesn't mean it cannot still work. Okay? It doesn't mean it cannot still work. It only means that maybe somebody will be willing to step down for a period of time. So we've seen relationships who were able to do this successfully. So for example, a woman wants to maybe run a master's, have a PhD and all of that. And the husband doesn't want that. And they want to also have children. And she needs to go further, you know. So the husband can decide that for this period of time, okay, I'm not going to do a regular office work. I would work from home so that we can pursue your own dreams. And when you are done with your own dreams, we turn back to mine. So they could have such arrangement that makes it flexible. So we do one person's dream, and when we are done with that person's dream, we achieve the other person's own. But you see, the sweeter one is when both of you have aligned dreams so that you can move together at the same pace, okay? And also, talking about purpose again, but you know, I emphasized initially that the purpose of a union is important. How do you define the purpose of a union? Ask this question. What good, what benefits will this marriage be to you and to me? Why must you be the one that I must marry? Why must I be the one? If it is not me, what would it cost you? If it is not you, what would it cost me? If I don't marry you, what am I going to lose? Being able to define those things will go a long way. So helping it, we put it in this format in marriage counseling, we refer to it as building a vision and a mission. Okay? We build that by talking specifically about the problem the union is supposed to solve. So if you and I are coming together, just like an organization, if Aderonke decided, like when Aderonke decided that this platform was going to hold, she now then went out to look for people who had the same understanding and brought them in for a purpose. Conversations with singles, with newly married and all of that and all of that. So you and I coming together, what is the purpose? There is always a problem in the world that our union is supposed to go and solve. It's not just for making love. It's not just for being able to tell the world, see my ring, I'm married. No, there are defined reasons for coming together. And once we can do that early enough, then really help going forward. That's to you and to the world at large. So I had also said, please develop yourself mentally, because we find out that a lot of people have what we call attachment disorder, okay? That makes them not to be able to connect well. And that's why you see, I keep going back to the background, to where you're coming from. Because if you have had attachment disorder from childhood, maybe your parents are always fighting, maybe you didn't live with them, maybe you felt abandoned as a child, there is an assessment, okay, that I would want every one of us listening here today to try and take. It's available online. It's called ACE. That's ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences. It's about 10 questions, very simple assessment. It's to ask you 10 questions. And it will give you also every single question you answer yes to. It will tell you what is likely to happen to you as an adult, what you'll be manifesting if you have ever experienced those things as a child. And this would really expose you to help you to understand, even when you're making a partner, a choice of a partner. If your partner has been through any of those things, know that they would have challenges. And so you are better prepared when you have been balanced and you make your findings properly, okay? Emotional development is key. Spiritual development is also key. But let me mention, before spirituals, the physical one. Physical is key. If you're not attracted to one another, it's going to be a lot of trouble. If you're not emotionally or physically attracted, there will be challenges. And of course, spiritually, for many years, I keep explaining, if you look at most old people who are still married and seemingly happy, like everything is okay with them, okay? Because, you know, some of these old people, is their children that can tell you if he's actually a happy one or not, you know? But if you see them, if you notice, there's something that keeps them going at that age. Usually it's faith. Usually it's the same religion, beliefs. Also, we're going to church together. Or we're going to mosque together. Oh, we have prayer meeting in the morning. Okay, daddy, grandpa is going for early morning prayer. Grandma is, you know, that is what actually keeps them at that point. And that's why it's important that you check out all these factors. Purpose, physical alignment, emotional alignment, spiritual alignment. Once all of these are in tune, not the one that you believe that there should be no sex before marriage, and the guy is telling you, we're going to marry ourselves. It doesn't matter. Is it not the same Bible? Maybe your own Bible says no sex. His own Bible says there's sex. You see that values are not aligning already. You know? So it tells you that spiritually, even in the future, you will have challenges of what you believe and what you both align with. And of course, on wrapping this up and talking again about purpose, some of us are struggling to actually identify our purpose. And if you are still at that state, like Aderoke said, if you get married before identifying your purpose, you will be challenged. Because you find out that you have to run the purpose of your spouse. And that will become a challenge for you. Okay? But you know, when you know your purpose, and even if you have to run the purpose of your spouse, it doesn't hurt you so much because it's a deliberate decision that you made. Unlike when you are not informed, when you just felt the person took advantage of you, is just using you, he is the only one growing, or she is the only one growing, and you are not growing. You're not growing because you didn't discover, you didn't identify. Okay, so you need to discover. And one of the easiest way I've always recommended for people to discover what their purpose really is look at your pain. Look at the things that have caused you pain in the past. Usually, those things are a strong pointer. They are strong pointers, to your purpose. Whatever has caused you pain is a strong pointer to what you are supposed to come and correct, or to what you're supposed to come and work on, to what you're supposed to come and address in life, okay? Because God allows us to pass through those things so that you can understand, you can be able to be a voice or to be whatever it is He wants you to be in that space. So finally, marriage is good. That's what I would say. But you know what? A purposeful marriage is much more better. A marriage that has where it's going, where it's heading, where we have clarity. Okay? Even from the very beginning is much more better. And for that, I believe many of us need counseling. Many of us need therapy to deal with traumas from our past, or even present traumas or past relationships you've been through. You know, remember the lady that was talking earlier about a man even telling her, you can't find someone as good as I am. You know, you need therapy to be able to get some words out of your mind so that you don't even remember. Even if you remember, they sound positive to you going forward. And then you also need premarital counseling. I strongly recommend professional premarital counseling, where some of these issues are dealt with. I hope I'm not taking so much of time, but I quickly want to share one more story, if that's okay. And that is the story of two couples who had gone into their church system that they want to get married, and they've been told that they need to go for counseling, okay? And they agreed, and they said, the wife said she doesn't want to talk about it. She told the counselor point blank she doesn't want to talk about it. So they closed that chapter, and because the counselor was trying to insist, she stepped out of counseling. She said she wasn't coming again. And of course, maybe the guy went persuading her. They came back after like a month to continue the counseling. And when they came back, of course, the Christian counselor had felt, okay, it's their life. The wedding date is already had been picked, let's move on. And they moved on. So they didn't go into that sex area again. They didn't talk about it. They didn't trash it. They didn't deal with it. Now, years down the line, they are in that situation whereby they've been married for many years. The number of kids they have, which is just 3 kids, is the number of sex they've had. I don't know if you heard me. They've been married for almost like 13, 14 years now. They have 3 kids, and those 3 kids, the man said he doesn't know the miracles that happen. Whenever they successfully have sex, she gets pregnant. As in, they've not been able to have sex. She doesn't like sex. She doesn't want sex. She stays away from it. And she doesn't want to talk about it even with the spouse. So please, that's why I keep recommending that go into a professional who is able to see the signals, even when you have not seen them. And who is able to tell you, oh, I see gray areas here. This is red zone. This is gray area. This is red zone. And without bias, because they are going to use assessment. They are going to use clear-cut things. This person doesn't know you, doesn't know you, know the other person, so there's no bias. And they will be sincere to guide you. So I'm going to point that out to us even as we are wrapping up today, that please, let's go for professional premarital counseling. And even after marriage, please still go for counseling. Every year of your marriage, go for what we call postmarital assessment, postmarital counseling. Even if it's once a year, seek help. If you can go to your doctor and check and do, what do you call it now? General checkups, the one we do once every year. You should also be able to go in and do a checkup for your marriage. Health, you won't know whether it's already rusty, whether it's already boring, whether sex has become a routine, whether children has become everything that now matters, and you have lost focus of the purpose of the union. So please, marriage is good, like I said, but a purposeful marriage is much more better. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Timi. Thank you everyone for staying tuned. So at this junction, I know that we've been talking of the place of counseling and everything we'll be talking about. How do we still need some guides, right? So Dr. Timi, I know our school is kind of not affordable for a lot of people. Yeah, because I know what
it is affordable, actually. It is because we have different programs, and I always keep saying this: not all of us can go outside Nigeria to go and study, and that's the purpose or the main reason why the school exists. For those of us in Nigeria who wants to learn how to help people professionally, how not to be sentimental, how to understand your audience, and be able to practically help people to make good and informed decisions. That's what ADI is all about. And we have different packages. Yes, if you want a full certification, okay, not just Nigeria, that is not limited here alone. If you go outside the country, you can use it. Then you might be talking about those high bills. Do you get it? Because those ones are connected to the international bodies that we belong to. But if you're talking about, okay, just mastering these skills, just coming in to learn basic engagement techniques, whether with children, teenagers, young adults, married adults, old adults, retirees, mental health issues, trauma issues, marital issue, career choice, whatever it is, we have what we call short courses that covers for that, so that you learn the skills and you become useful and helpful. We need more people actually, and I know a lot of people are doing stuff in their respective spaces to help. Okay, but once you are equipped to help, it's much more better than when you're just using your head knowledge to help. And I think that's the purpose of the school. Thank you, Aderonke.
Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, so at this junction, so we're going to wrap up the session. So I'm going to add our panelists on our group. So the reason I'm going to do that is because I know counseling, sometimes people see it as going for counseling is expensive, but counseling is not expensive. Like I would say, like if counseling is expensive, then try divorce. Then just wait on that day you will get yourself going into divorce, no here and there, going for hearing, your lawyer, you have to pay for your lawyer.
Yeah.
Expensive, and you need to start now. You don't have to have a relationship before you start going in for counseling. So Dr. Timmy, Dr. Jem with Kingsley, you guys will permit me, we'll have it on our group. So because we want to continue our conversation also on the group, and we would like your perspective, your professional counsel also on it. So like that, I think we can get like free counseling, yeah. And and feel free to DM our panelists for if you want to have a one-on-one session and all of that. So okay guys, this is a session where we all switch on our camera. We need to see our faces. We need to see our Sister Shola. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to add you on the group too because we need you. And she's actually coach. So I hope we've actually gotten value from today's session. I'm very positive about that because I also have gotten, I'm loaded. So I know when we move to the group, we're going to download, we're going to upload everything on the group. So guys, I need you to say hello, unmute yourself, say hello, share your words of appreciation to our panelists. Unmute yourself is open now. Let's go ahead and we have what we want to say to our panelists before we bring it finally to a close. Any final notes?
All right.
Hi, Shola. Good to see your face.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Wow, Dr. Timmy, Dr. Jem, and even to Kingsley Speaks in absentia, I want to say, wow, I've just been soaking myself and I've really been gingered. Don't worry, Dr. Timmy, I'll start disturbing you for a lot of sessions. At least this is what it's all about, though. Both the charged one and the free one, but we'll start with the one first, then it will upgrade today. We'll now upgrade it. So thanks for even our convener, our host. She's been wonderful. She's a friend for this mighty thing because she doesn't know what she's doing. This is really more than what she's thinking of.
Yeah.
The issues that are being discussed are real life issues that are affecting millions of people all over the world, which is just trying in our own little space. And before you know it, I can't wait till it blows, like we say in Nigeria, till it blows. All right, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Sister Shola. We have two Sholas here. Kingsley, welcome back. Oluwaseun. Okay. So
I think the Shola Olukosi.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Thanks for your words, of wisdom. And thanks to all the speakers. I had a lovely time. Kingsley, your advice was worth its weight in gold. So thanks for coming back to speak to us as well. As well as, I can't remember the names of the other speakers, but thank you very much.
Dr. James.
Yeah, Dr. James. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Kingsley. We appreciate Lua Fumilayo. Good to see your face. Hi.
Same here, sis.
Wow, thank you.
A very big thank you to all our panel, all our speakers. Seriously, today was just a great day for me. I really learned a lot. Thanks to my great Dr. Timmy Oyebode, I break everything down, and to Dr. Jem, and to Mr. Kingsley, thank you so much. And to our convener, Councillor Aderonke, seriously, what you did today really helped, because I have to share it to some of my group, even my church member, that you know what you're doing to miss this. And I'm really, really grateful. Thank you so much. God will continue to strengthen you, continue to enlarge your host, and to all our facilitators, we are saying a very big thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Good to see your face. Honestly, Oluwafunmilayo, like he's been.
Same here, same here, same here, same here.
Right. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to bring the session to a close now. It is my prayer that everything we've learned today, that the Lord will help us to, to keep it going in our life, and the grace to carry on, and so we could live that fulfilled life. God actually ordained us to, and He created us for. And marriage, it's destined for us to live, to enjoy, and not to endure. The Lord will grant us the grace so we would understand His word, because there is difference between knowing and understanding. We have learned today, the Lord will help us to understand, give us the understanding so we can walk accordingly to His will. We will all live elderly in Jesus' name. None of us will find one to live. Thank you so very much for your time. I am so grateful. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Please, so very much. Thank you.
Dr. Jem, so good to meet you. We're gonna see in camera. So I'm gonna take your contact from Aderonke.
Yeah.
So that we can link up. God bless you, Mr. Kingsley. I must hear your voice again, oh.
Yeah.
All right, God bless you, Aderonke. Well done, and the Lord keeps you.
Amen.
All right, bye for now, everybody.
Thank you. Dr. Jem, thank you very much. I really
Thank you so much, Aderonke. Thank you for availing your platform for us to do this. God bless you. And we pray to grow from strength to strength, and that God will open more doors for you, and indeed you will be a blessing to the entire world.
Amen.
So thank
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being patient to stay till the end. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you everyone for staying to the end. I really appreciate that too. Thank you. See us next week by God's grace. Sister Shola, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Nima, didn't see your face. Thank you so very much for joining. Maya in the building. Emmanuel, thank you so much. I saw your comments. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Asua, and that should be, I don't know. Asua, thank you so very much for also joining us. We appreciate. Thank you for staying to the end. All right. Really, Oluwaseun, thank you so much, sis. Despite the time frame, so thank you so very much. Captain John, thank you. Akin to the Bishop, I didn't hear your voice today. I only saw your comments. Thank you. Akin today, what happened? I didn't hear your voice.
I think it was necessary for me to be a listener, because bulk of everything that has been said by each of the panelists are people that are things I've also said. There are also things I've also always spoken to you about. You understand that I keep going back to Proverbs 24, 3-4. Knowledge about the person you are with. Your ability to apply that knowledge is where wisdom comes into play. The wisdom is what you will now use to build that house. Understanding is the comprehension of the knowledge that you have applied of the person you want to be with. There is no smoke without fire. Everything that I've talked about, they are key things. I want to thank and Dr. Timileyin for the ACE thing. I never knew that existed. I'm even, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm already looking at the tests and I'm going to do it today because it's very, very paramount. Common sense is not common. Practicality is of essence. I was saying it yesterday in the group that dating is like a marketing a marketing job. You are trying to beat people to this thing. So marriage is a business institution. If you're not cut out for it, don't go into it. Do you understand? It's really a mindset that involves a lot of things. It involves a lot of things. It's not scary, but it is hard work. But it is good work because it's an institution God is in support 110%. It's tactful. Friendship is important, but it's beyond friendship. You it's not just about the fact that you're best of friends, yes, but the key to me, which I feel is very paramount, is your willingness to learn. I feel willingness to learn as a key factor of growth in marriage, because if you cannot, there is no way. Change is a constant thing. You're married to someone, at some point some new things will come out that, oh, you didn't see this, you didn't see this. It's not about being heady about it. It's your willingness to stay back and understand where that character could have emanated from and try to turn things around. I'm not saying it's a simple job, but your willingness to always open yourself to learning as a man, as a woman, is also a key factor that brings about growth in marriages that I have seen. I just believe that every single person like me should be guided. I've also learned some things today, which I've always looked at. Oh, if she's like this, she's like this. Oh, it can work, it can work. Nah, I'm seeing them now, and I'm giving myself brain. I'm tweaking my thoughts now. So it's just a mixture of so many things. But I keep telling everybody to go back to that part. Proverbs 24:3-4. By wisdom, a house is built. With understanding, I can't add then with knowledge. Wisdom, you talked about the importance of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as key foundational factors for which a marriage should exist. It could that verse could actually also be likened to other areas of our lives, but it's a key scripture for me that actually defines how marriage would actually work. If a good knowledge of the person you're dealing with is very, very important. If you don't know much, you must be curious to know. So that's it.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Bishop. Oluwafunmilayo, I actually shared, and I don't know who Asua actually is. So I shared a link on the group. So for if you want to be part of the main group we have on WhatsApp, so you can click on the link, so then you'll be added to the main group. And so thank you very much, guys. I really don't want to go. We can go on, this relationship talk, we can keep going on. Emmanuel, let's see your face if I have not seen your face. So let's see your face. Asua, I don't know who Asua is, but okay. Okay, guys, I think that is going to be it from my hand as well. So we expect to see us next week is another day, because we have this conversation every Saturday at 10 a.m. West African time, 10 a.m. Central European time as well. And I think it's 9 a.m. for the UK, and it's kind of like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. for the people in the US. So we see you next week, actually. So stay tuned, guys, and stay connected. So we move to the group to continue our conversation. So bye for now, guys. Bye.
Nàìjíríà yìí ti gbogbo wa ni.
Okay.